Hello, and thank you for joining us at the board meeting tonight. Just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. When you joined, you heard as an audience member that you're in listen-only mode. You cannot unmute yourself. However, if you would like to speak for public comment, just use the raise your hand function indicated by a little hand icon, and I will unmute you so you're able to speak and make your public comment. Please know that your webcam will remain off, but your comment will be audio only. And now I'll turn things over to President Coyne to begin the meeting.
Thank you, Margaret. I am calling to order the regular and annual meeting of the Park Ridge Park District Board of Park Commissioners. Today is Thursday, May 6th, 2021, and it is 7:04 p.m. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Grau?
Here.
Commissioner Harrington? Oh, I'm sorry about that. Commissioner Leduc?
Here.
Commissioner Leach?
Here.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Here.
Commissioner Tunnell?
Here.
Commissioner Coyne?
Here. Thank you. Would anyone like to amend, add, or delete an item to the current agenda? Hearing none. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment on any non-agenda item? Hearing none, I'll move on to recognition of outgoing commissioners and turn the floor over to Executive Director Gail Mountcastle.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure this evening to recognize our commissioners that are outgoing, and we'll also have time for their comments afterwards, and would like them to stay for a few pictures afterwards. So, as we begin to recognize the outgoing commissioners, I would first like to take a moment to recognize past Commissioner Jim Janik, who was elected to the Board of Park Commissioners in April 2017 and unexpectedly passed December 4th, 2018. He would be finishing his term this evening. Jim was always smiling and positive. His joyous nature was contagious. He was a beloved family member, friend, T-ball coach, and important member of the Park Board. He especially loved South Park and the Nature Center, but contributed to the overall betterment of the Park District. Can I please ask that we take a moment of silence to remember Jim at this time? Thank you very much. Stacy, Finnegan, and Addison continue to be in our prayers. Commissioner O'Donnell, Leach, and Harrington have served as Park Ridge Park District Commissioners from April 2017 to April 2021. All of them have been instrumental and had an effect on several capital projects. I'll just go through them to remind you because I know it's been a whirlwind, but the Hinckley Park Tennis Courts, restroom and parking lot, the Main Park Nature Center shelter and fireplace, pathways and educational signage, South Park Recreation Center upgrades, Prospect Park 2 to 5-year-old playground and shelter, JC Park Playground, Northeast Playground, acquisition of new property next to the Nature Center, several other capital projects throughout the district, including outdoor nature classroom that will be completed this year, the community gardens at Hinckley Park, and of course there's the Oakton Master Plan. And the approval of the plan is being presented to the community. So you were here when that started. We had started. You're leaving. It's not complete. And I've said that before. I'm sorry for that. And I believe that if it weren't for COVID, we'd be on a different path. But please continue to follow that, and hopefully we'll make some progress soon. All of you have helped us navigate through an unbelievable pandemic, and your support was unwavering. As with many of our past commissioners, I know moving forward we can count on each of you to continue to be ambassadors and advocates for the Park District. You each brought value to the district, and you will be missed. But we're not done yet. President Coyne and I would like to recognize each of you individually for your contributions. Commissioner Coyne, will you start us off with Commissioner O'Donnell?
Yes, thank you. Jim, first off, it's difficult to express fully the emotions that I, as well as the entire board, Park District employees, and your friends and neighbors have regarding Liliana's health struggle. Peace to her, to her entire family, and know that we are all here for you. Your desire for delivering the very best in park programming, facilities, and grounds is only matched by your fiscal vigilance. For 2 years, I've never had to ask a question on the budget because you always beat me to it. I admire your discipline, your compassion, and your vision. Thank you for your keen eye and your sharp pencil. Yeah.
And Jim, you have contributed so much in positions, the secretary from 2017-2018, as treasurer and finance liaison from 2018 to 19, as the chairperson of the Finance Advisory Council, even though it was short-lived, but from 2018 to 19. You were on the Evaluation Committee for Bank Services RFP, Auditor Services for RFP Review and Selection, and the Citizens Task Force for Oakton as a liaison in 2019. You were the Recreational Liaison in 2019-20, and the Buildings and Ground Liaison in 2020 and 2021. I think you've done it all. As most people in town are aware, Commissioner O'Donnell is a bike enthusiast. During his time on the board, he advocated for bike racks and paths in the parks. Additionally, he strongly supported the activities at the Centennial Fitness Center and Activity Center, amongst the whole park district, but those were the ones that he had a special heart for. Jim brought to the board his expertise in finance and his attention to details. He thoroughly vetted proposals and asked thoughtful and challenging questions. While he is steadfast in his beliefs, he always wanted to hear the other side of the argument and was willing to change his mind if he was convinced. Thank you, Jim. Jim, would you like to share any comments with the board on this?
Oh, yes. So I would like to start by saying thank you to Executive Director Moncastle and her staff. You guys rock. This district is blessed with a director and a staff that is dedicated, creative, and just work like crazy, which we really saw as we went through this time of COVID. So my hat is off to you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was fun, and you taught me a lot. I would also like to thank my fellow commissioners. It was a pleasure, really, serving with you. And I would like to give special thanks to Commissioner Harrington and Commissioner Coyne for their service as president and all the extra work that entails, and notwithstanding keeping this rat pack in line with some of the controversial issues that came up over the course of my term. To you newbies that are coming on board, I wish you Godspeed, and I hope you have an experience as good as the one that I had. To the voters, to the people of this district that granted me the privilege to serve, because that's the way I see it. I am truly honored and feel privileged to have had this experience. I'm just going to take this off for a second. But I have a message for you. There are some things that I feel just really, really good about that should be pointed out. Now, Director Moncastle talked about some of the projects that we have done that I think were really, really cool. But there's some other things that, the ones that really stand out for me, that there are two. The first one is when I campaigned, when I went door to door, and when I talked to people, I promised them that I would not vote to raise property taxes unless it was absolutely necessary. And I'm proud to say that over my 4 years, this board had the sense to understand that with the plethora of taxing agencies that appear on a property tax bill, that they understood that a cup of coffee here and a cup of coffee there, and pretty soon it adds up to some real money that people can't afford. And over these 4 years, we did not raise property taxes, and I'm very proud of that. Secondly, we have a unit of government here that, unlike some other units of government that unfortunately we are very familiar with, knows how to live within its means, how to put together a balanced budget and live within it, has a rainy day fund instead of a stack of unpaid bills, has fully funded pension plan, and even has awards up on the wall for the quality, timeliness, and transparency in our financial statements. It's something that I'm very proud of, and it's something that I think the residents of this district should be proud of and grateful for. So that's it. Thank you again. It's really been a privilege and an honor to serve, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. You will be missed. Commissioner Leach. Hi. We would like to recognize you next, and I'm going to turn it over to President Coyne.
Thank you again. Rob, on the day I was elected, you texted me two things. First was, remember that you serve the residents of the Park District, and it's their money you're spending. And the other thing was, find your voice. I already knew the first thing, and frankly, I had no idea what you were talking about on the second thing. But months later, I spoke on a particular issue facing the board, and apparently on that day, I was able to make my points on that issue with the right balance of passion, expertise, and persuasiveness, because I got a post-meeting text from you saying, tonight you found your voice. Congratulations. Your candor, passion, and unwavering commitment to government transparency and accountability will be missed in this body. Plus, you make me laugh at least once every meeting. Thank you for that, and I'll turn this back over to Gail.
And to continue on the praise for Commissioner Leach, I'd like to mention that he was involved as a recreation liaison from 2018 to 19, treasurer finance liaison from April 19 to July 2019, building and grounds liaison from July 2019 to 2020, and he was a valued member of the Attorney Services Task Force in 2019. Rob was a member of the Lawn Care Products Application Task Force in 2019 and worked closely with Superintendent Wolf on the creation of the lawn care policy. Commissioner Leach is credited with introducing the concept of a strategic plan for the district. This plan has now developed into a very useful document for staff and the board, providing direction and measurement reporting that is easily shared with the community. He is involved in sports. Nobody knew that, through our affiliate organizations, and advocated for the affiliates. His love of developing children through their participation in sports has been evident. Rob could be counted on for a spirited conversation. He held true to his convictions throughout his tenure on the board. He always had supportive words for our staff and encouraged rewarding staff for their excellent performances. Thank you, Rob. Would you like to make any comments?
Thank you. Thank you for both your kind comments. I don't think they're probably as deserved as it sounded, but I appreciate them regardless. I will tell you, I'll start off by saying it was an absolute pleasure to serve with my fellow commissioners and with probably the best staff in the area. The professionalism, the competency is unbelievable for a government agency. And for most people that know me, they know I don't like government. So I love the fact that you run it like a business. I love the fact that you still care about every individual in this district. You don't play favorites, and you get things done at an unbelievable efficiency and effectiveness. That is just, it's impressive as on this side of the podium. To the incoming commissioners, congratulations on your wins. it's your show now, and I hope you lead with your heart and your intuition, and always remember the people that aren't here are counting on you. There's a lot of ways you can go with this role, but I think this past 4 years has shown us that we can do a lot despite the adversity we've been faced. Sure, everyone wishes we could have done more. I know that, but I'm very proud of the things we accomplished. Similar to Commissioner O'Donnell, I'll say something to the constituents. I'm very proud of the fiscal discipline that I think this board has taken across the board, from policies to our approaches. I mean, the staff didn't need much encouragement. You guys, again, we were just here to kind of approve basically what you guys already thought. But you made us look very good. And so to the constituents, to the residents, I would say you're in great hands. And it was a pleasure as a small town kid from Indiana to have served our community. So with that, I wish, I'll say one last thing. I do wish the one commissioner had made it to this point, but he'll always be in my heart. So with that, I say goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Leach, and you will be missed. At this time, we'd like to recognize Commissioner Harrington, and I will turn it over to President Coyne.
Alderman Harrington. If you Google harmony, you'll find the first definition is the combination of simultaneously sounded musical notes to produce chords having a pleasing effect. How on earth did your parents know to name you this? You have a special gift for finding common ground between two seemingly disparate positions and leaving the persons with whom those disparate positions, each feeling like they won the day. I witnessed this too many times to mention over your last 2 years and my first 2 years on this board. As president, especially, you took those simultaneously sounded notes coming from each of us and somehow combined them into a chord of good governance. I have no doubt that you will bring that similar spirit to the City Council chambers. Thank you for your leadership.
And Alderman Harrington, I will continue with the praise and list all of the committees and offices that you held. Vice President Policy Liaison in 2018-19, President in 2019-2020, member of the Attorney Services Task Force in 2019, Treasurer Finance Liaison in 2020-2021. In addition to her many contributions in these offices and committees, Commissioner Harrington was instrumental as the commissioner lead on the affiliate guidelines, the ordinance regulating the use of the parks and property owned or controlled by the Park Ridge Park District, and the personnel policy manual. She just happened to be the policy chair at the right time. Harmony always remains calm amidst the crisis, and I appreciate her inquisitiveness and her insightful way of thinking through issues. I believe the entire board recognizes her as a collaborator and values the viewpoint she brought to the group with her strong participation in the community and her children's activities. Thank you so much, Harmony, and you will also be missed. Would you like to make any comments this time?
Thanks, Executive Director Mountcastle and President Coyne. I'm humbled by your words, for sure. It has truly been a privilege, like my fellow commissioners have shared tonight, to serve in this role. And, I feel like each of us, certainly Commissioner O'Donnell and Commissioner Leach and I, have also carried kind of a torch for Commissioner Janik as we've moved through the remainder of our years without him. Doubly motivated, doubly passionate to carry on his legacy and his commitment to the Park District. I feel like in many ways, those in the room tonight and probably watching the meeting sense a little bit of how we came into our office and we came into our roles as neighbors and as colleagues, but many of us, all of us are leaving as family. And this is really what local service is about. You bring citizens together with different backgrounds, different perspectives, which are is so healthy for a board to have of this nature. And you bring them together, you put them in a room, and you let them start working it out. And you usually come up with the best work product when folks with different ideas get around a table and find some sort of compromise or path forward. And I think that this board, over my 4 years, has really been exemplary at doing that. Now, we have been a family. There have been disagreements. There have been lots of laughs. There have been late nights for sure. But I think a healthy respect was developed. And I think we always respected each other and our opinions to get to the right path for the district and for the residents of Park Ridge. And I think the district has benefited by that. I learned a lot during my 4 years here. I learned and grew my respect for our Park District staff, and you've heard my fellow commissioners talk about that. But you don't know how good you are until you're tested. And I think during the pandemic, we really saw how our strong financial performance, our strong leadership from Executive Director Mountcastle, many calls with her, she and I had. I'm thinking back now, Gail, through the early days of pandemic. And your leadership during that time was incredibly impressive. Not only worried about safety for your staff, programming and safety for the residents, you definitely carried it on your sleeve. And as a sign of a good leader, just moved forward doing what was right for the district. And we're so lucky to have you in your role. And your leadership team was exemplary during that time. I think many are on the screen and around. You all as staff were really tested during this time, and you really got to see how the district works together, how the staff works together to weather the storm. And again, with that strong financial performance, with our strong staff and creative staff, we were able to do something during the pandemic, offer as many services, as many amenities, keep the parks open as best as we could during that time to give folks a place, a refuge, and a solace. So I think because of that test, the district is stronger because of it, but it has also shown and shined a bright light on just how impactful and strong the district is. I leave my role as commissioner and very grateful and fortunate to have been elected as alderman of the 4th Ward for the city of Park Ridge, and will carry my experience here with me into that role. And you all know I'll continue to be an advocate for our Park District because of my experience here and what I've seen, and will continue to be an ambassador and help kind of continue that collaboration and intergovernmental collaboration in my new role. But thank you. It's been a privilege to serve with everyone.
Thank you, Harmony, and you'll be missed as well. But it's not over for you because due to COVID, we did not get the chance to present you with your president gavel. So as president of the board for 2019-20, Commissioner Harrington worked through several of the previously mentioned projects with me. In addition, she was a constant sounding board, as she had just spoke about, on the day-to-day issues that arise, and especially the more serious concerns. And, your insight and your just your thinking and the way that you, address and deal with situations and problems was invaluable to me. And I'll always appreciate that and remember it. So anyway, with that, I have a gavel for you. And take this to the city and put it on your I think at this time we're going to do some pictures. So, no, I'm not. Thank you, though. So, if all of the outgoing commissioners can sadly leave your seats, and we're going to do a picture. Margaret's going to. Yeah, sure. Well, let's do one with them first, and then. Harmony, hold on. Oh, yeah, there's, you guys also, there's gifts for each of you, so please make sure you take those. Harmony, we'd like to take one of you and the gavel, if that's okay. No, we'll do them separate. Yeah,
ceremony.
yeah, that'll work. She gets it.
And then Matt will
We're
pass
just
it on
a
to
year
someone
behind.
else.
Right.
Okay, Matt, I need, you get the official passing of the gavel a year late. A year later. Sorry, I never got to. Thank you. Now give it back to her, that's really hers. This could have come in handy, because I was gonna say.
You guys are welcome to stay for the whole meeting and give your input.
We are leaving the district in very good new
Yeah.
hands, so.
Thanks for coming. I also forgot to mention that I wanted to thank your families, and please pass that on to them, because I know we take your valuable time at the Park District, some very long nights. And yes, they were really here in this board meeting, so I can vouch for that. So thank you again. I think we're, well,
So I can't suggest an absence of a quorum and then just adjourn?
no. Follow the script.
That's right. No, I'm stalling.
Oh, yeah, I know. That was
Aye.
always tricky.
We're ready to go, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I move to adjourn Sine DA for the purpose of holding the annual meeting and thereafter to convene to the regular board meeting.
Second.
Roll call vote.
You know,
Do we need a roll call vote?
No, the voice vote's
oh,
fine.
okay. Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's see.
Okay. Before you move on,
Mhm.
I have one thing for you. As president of the board, President Coyne, from 2000, oh wait, sorry. Let me change my, President Coyne, you didn't realize when you became president of the board last year that your term would involve a pandemic. You've been my voice of reason, often talking me off a ledge. You were a calming leader to me when everything was unknown. You led the direction on cutting capital projects and postponing capital projects and developing financial forecasting models. You often served as a conduit for communication between the board and the residents, dealing with COVID and Park District general issues. You also created during this time the Diversity and Inclusion Task Force in an effort to advance the district's efforts. I can't thank you enough for your leadership during this past year, and we have a gavel for you as well.
Thank you. All right, then. I will, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I will call to order the annual meeting of the Park Board. I move to appoint Attorney Price to serve as temporary chairperson until a president has been elected.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes. Commissioner Grau,
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnel,
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne.
Aye. Now I pass the gavel to the temporary chairperson.
And I got it. At this time, there is the swearing in of the new commissioners.
We're going to go
And
alphabetical. So Joan Bendy, if you want to come up.
Okay. Oh, there. Oh, hello.
Are you ready? Is your microphone, is there on?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and if you can, I'll just go ahead and start reading it for you, and then you can repeat it, okay?
Oh, okay.
I state your name and repeat after me. And raise your right hand, please.
Oh, I, Joan Bendy,
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution and the laws of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Park District Commissioner according to the best of my ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Park District Commissioner according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, and you're welcome to go ahead and sit at your seat.
Oh. Okay. Good. Thank you.
If who's the next person up? Robbo, if you want to come up. Raise your right hand. And I state your name and repeat after me.
I, Rob Bowe,
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
do solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution and the laws of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Park District Commissioner according to the best of my ability.
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Park District Commissioner according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. You can take your seat. If Melissa, would you like to come up? You can raise your right hand. I state your name and repeat after me.
I, Melissa Holting,
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Park District Commissioner accordingly to the best of my ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Park District Commissioner according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
John Tunnel? Raise your right hand. I state your name and repeat after me. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States
I, John Tunnell, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Park District Commissioner according to the best of my ability.
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Park District Commissioner according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now I'm going to do a roll call of the new board.
Just a reminder, when you're put your mic on and you're talking, you talk close to the mic and turn it off.
Commissioner Bundy?
Here.
Commissioner Bowe?
Here.
Commissioner Coyne?
Here.
Commissioner Grau?
Here.
Commissioner Hulting?
Here.
Commissioner LeDuc?
Here.
And Commissioner Tunnell?
Here.
Thank you.
Right, it is time for the election of officers to one-year terms until their until their successors have been duly qualified and elected. So I will now accept nominations for the office of president.
I nominate Cindy Grau for the office of president.
Second.
Are there any further nominations? The chair hearing none, I declare that the Commissioner Cindy Grau is now elected as president of the board, and I pass the gavel to her.
I knew that would come in handy someday. I will now accept nominations for the office of vice president. I would like to nominate Jen LeDuc as vice president of the park board. Are there any
Second.
other nominations? Hearing none, I declare Jen LeDuc as vice president of the park board.
Thank you.
I will now entertain a motion for the appointment of treasurer.
I move that John Tunnell be appointed as treasurer to the Board of Park Commissioners.
Second.
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Commissioner Bundy?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne?
Aye.
Commissioner Hulting?
Yes.
Commissioner LeDuc?
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnell? Yes. Commissioner Grau?
Yes. I will now entertain a motion for the appointment of secretary.
I move that Rob Bowe be appointed as secretary to the Board of Park Commissioners.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Call vote, please.
Sure. Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne?
Aye.
Commissioner Hulting?
Yes.
Commissioner LeDuc?
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Bundy?
Yes.
Commissioner Grau?
Yes. I nominate Executive Director Mountcastle of the Park Ridge Park District representative on the Manassas Board of Directors. Are there any further nominations for this position? Hearing none, we will have a roll call vote.
Is there a second? Can I have a second?
Second.
Please? Thank you. Commissioner Coyne?
Aye.
Commissioner Hulting?
Yes.
Commissioner LeDuc?
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Bundy?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Grau,
Yes. I would like to make the appointment of Melissa Holting to the Recreation Buildings and Grounds Liaison as a liaison to Recreation Buildings and Grounds.
excuse
I
me
would
one second. President Grau, can you do the nominate Superintendent Armour for the
Sorry.
alternate?
Yes, I
That's all
can.
right. Thank you.
I nominate Superintendent Armour of the Park Ridge Park District alternative representative on the Manassas Board of Directors. Are there any further, is there a second?
Second.
Are there any further nominations? Hearing none. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Commissioner Hulting,
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnel,
Yes.
Commissioner Bendy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne,
Aye.
Commissioner Grau.
Yes. I would like to appoint Melissa Holting as the Recreation Buildings and Grounds Liaison. And I would like to appoint Matt Coyne as the Intergovernmental Liaison.
Commissioner or President Grau, is Commissioner Holting going to do buildings and grounds and recreation, or is there another person doing
Oh,
one
I'm
of
sorry,
those?
recreation was separate. I am
That's okay.
sorry. Sorry about that. I would like to appoint Joan Bendy as the Recreation Liaison.
Second.
It's an appointment. It's an appointment.
All right.
Sorry, Melissa.
And so, yeah, so I think we're good because you appointed Commissioner Holting as buildings and grounds, and then
Bendy as,
recreation, and Coyne is intergovernmental, right?
yes.
Coyne.
Right. Well, I move to adjourn the annual meeting and to reconvene the regular board meeting in Stanter.
Can we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Leduc,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnel? Yes. Commissioner Bendy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulting, Commissioner Grau.
Yes. I hereby reconvene to the regular board meeting. Can I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Bendy,
Here.
Commissioner Bowe,
Here.
Commissioner Coyne,
Here.
Commissioner Hulting,
Here.
Commissioner Leduc,
Here.
Commissioner Tunnel,
Here.
Commissioner Grau.
Here. Okay, under the president, I just want to welcome the new commissioners to the board. I look forward to an exciting couple years with you for your returning and the new commissioners. I hope you find the work rewarding. As Jim O'Brien used to give a pep talk at the beginning of his year, make sure you read your packet. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to the superintendents of those departments with your questions ahead of the meetings, during the meetings. So welcome aboard. All right. Moving on to motion to change the time for the next board meeting. I move to change the starting time for the regular board meeting on Thursday, May 20th, 2021 from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, just a little background. I think I've talked to most of you about this, but there is a program that the library is hosting on that night from 6 to 7:30 p.m. It's being co-sponsored with Go Green Park Ridge and the Park Ridge Garden Club. They're bringing in a nationally known speaker, author, to talk about his book, His name is Doug Ptolemy. Nature's Best Hope is his book. In this book, he makes the case that our green spaces, our parks, and our yards are very critical to keeping our ecosystem going, and to ensure the stability of our ecosystems, that we should take care of those green areas in certain ways to promote wildlife. And so I hope that the staff can come and that the commissioners can come and learn a little bit about other functions of our green spaces and the benefits. Any questions? It's a virtual program. Okay, you want to call the vote?
Commissioner Bundy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne,
Aye.
Commissioner Holteen,
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc,
Yes.
sorry, Commissioner Tunnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Grau.
And I'll turn it over to our finance person, John Tunnell, Commissioner Tunnell.
Thank you, President Grau. I appreciate the opportunity to be thrown into the finance section right away. So I've prepared a nice audit presentation here, and in lieu of me presenting, I'd like to turn it over to Superintendent of Finance, please. Thank you.
Hi, we have with us from Lauterbach and Eamon, Monica Adamski, who will be presenting.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me here today. My name is Monica Adamski, and I'm from Lauterbach and Eamon. I wanted to start off by thanking Sandra and the entire finance staff for all their hard work. Once again, we had a very successful audit. Couldn't have done it without you, so thank you very much. I don't know what you see right now. I don't know if you see the report or if you see me.
We can see you on the top, and we're seeing your screen with the front page of the report. So thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm kind of gonna scroll through this a little bit. So here's the cover of the CAFR this year. If at any time you please have any questions, just stop me. I'd be more than happy to stop and answer any questions. So I wanted to start off by giving you some recognition once again. The district did receive the Certificate of Achievement for their December 31st, 2019 CAFR. This means that all the standards that are required for the Achievement Award were met. So again, that's all thanks to finance. So good job and thank you for that. Next on page 10, this is our independent auditor's report. What this letter states is that the district received an unmodified audit opinion. That is the highest audit opinion that we do give. That means that all the numbers within this report are up to accounting standards. So congratulations. After that, within the CAFR, you'll find the management discussion and analysis. Just a suggestion is if you were to read anything out of this CAFR, I know it's pretty big, 121 pages. I definitely recommend reading this part of it. It's a very high level overview of everything that happened within the fiscal year, but it gives a very good understanding for for any reader. So again, I'm not going to go through much of that today, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention to go over that whenever you have some time. And go down to page 26 if anybody has a CAFR in front of them. So here start the basic financial statements. I have some notes written down on my paper in front of me, just changes from last year. So I'm going to go to this page. Can you see it okay?
Yes, everybody has a
Yes,
copy as
we can
well.
see it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So within the current year, total liabilities decreased by about $3.3 million. I wanted to bring that up. Sorry, that's right here, the 16. A main change of that within this year was due to the IMRF. So last year, there was a IMRF liability on the books. But again, that's all due to market fluctuations. So as the market ended up positive at year end, you'll see in your current year report, there's actually a net pension asset. So the IMRF actually did become an asset this year. So that was a huge number that all the districts, governmental entities saw within the year. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Total government-wide net position increased by a total of 1.3 million. So that majority of that is going to be your investment in capital assets. We'll go over a little bit later. So as during all your beautiful speeches, you guys made me very emotional. Again, you guys constantly kept talking about your capital assets, your investment in that. So you can definitely see that within your books this year. I'm going to turn to page 31 now. This is going to be your statement of revenues and expenses and changes on fund balance. So right here at the bottom, you can see all the net changes in fund balance within the year. So in total, fund balance decreased only by 70,000, which is not a significant change at all. Total revenues for the governmental funds decreased by $5 million this year. However, again, that was offset by about $4 million of a decrease in expenditures. Again, payroll coming down, the lockdown, not as many people were working. So that had a net effect. In turn, there was also a debt issuance for $1.5 million. So that is kind of a short narrative of how the district ended in the current year. Does anybody have any questions?
This is Sandra. I'd just like to jump in and add here just to point out, as we talked out all during, our financial review during the pandemic and the budget season, you can really see here where the general fund had that positive surplus, but it was more than offset by, the decline in revenues and the resulting deficit in the recreation fund, but they almost offset each other.
Correct. There are no questions for the audit report. I have here pulled up now your audit management letter. This is just stating that based on all of our testing, our internal control testing, making sure segregation of duties is going on at the district, we found no items to report to the board this evening. This is a good thing. Usually this is a brand new letter we have this year. Yeah, it's just saying that all the numbers are what they say they are. We had no significant audit adjustments. Everything was as it was supposed to be. So congratulations and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate it. Thank you, Superintendent DeAngelis, as always, for your good work. And I know there's a lot of hours that go into this, and just the fact that this is like 120 pages is just the icing on the cake. You guys do a tremendous job, so thank you. At this time, I would like to move to accept the audited 2020 comprehensive annual financial report of the Park Ridge Park District as presented.
Second.
May I have a roll call?
Commissioner Bendy? Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne?
Aye.
Commissioner Halting?
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc?
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Grau?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving right along in finance, we're looking at the authorization of new signatures with Fifth Third Bank. The motion reads, I move to authorize and to direct the board to execute and deliver the Fifth Third Bank change and authorize account signer forms as presented.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulting,
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Bendy,
Yes.
Commissioner Grau.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'd like to now present Commissioner Hulting to Building and Grounds.
Thank you. Terry, I'm very excited to work with you. I just wanted to say that, and I will turn it over to Terry. Superintendent Wolf, excuse me. Being too informal already.
Thanks, Commissioner Hulting. I look forward to working with you as well. I do have in the board packet, although I'm scrolling through to find the page here because there's a lot of financial stuff. There we go. On page 133 of the PDF, or 132 if you're following in the paper copy, I do have provided a memo to discuss a project that has gone out to bid and been split into two separate bids. This is the Northwest Park baseball netting renovations project. This is a project in which we're working with the Park Ridge Baseball affiliate. They have provided some of the funding as well as the netting and poles for this backstop renovation, and we're also looking to add some walks to make it ADA compliant as well. This project was previously bid, and we had one bidder, and it was over budget. And in revisiting the project with baseball affiliate as well as staff, we felt that perhaps there could be some efficiencies if we broke this project apart and did some of the general contracting work and organizing on our own as a staff, just with not having going through a general contractor, but getting two different trades to do the work. We did open those bids today, as it turns out, and we plan to bring those bid results and request for authorization or denial at the next meeting. We unfortunately did not see great bidding results, but we'll cover that in more detail at our meeting next week. But I would be happy to answer any questions about this project in general. All right, hearing none, I could move on to the chlorine purchase memo. If I believe we have a motion to be read first, though.
I move to authorize the purchase and delivery of 230 16-pound buckets of AccuTab tablets from Aquapure Enterprises Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $35,000, and to authorize the executive director to execute and deliver such purchase. Can I have a second?
So I have provided a memo on this as well. It's on page 133 of the paper copy, 134 of the PDF. Basically what's happened, and maybe some of you have heard some of the news reports, is that there's expected to be a chlorine shortage this year. While it's not 100% known if it could present an issue for park districts, there's a potential for it. And nonetheless, our supplier has indicated that they do anticipate price increases. And a lot of sources are stating that for the type of chlorine that we use, there will likely be shortages. So since we're just, working on having our pools open for the season, people are looking forward to a good season of the pool season, we want to make sure that we take this opportunity to make the purchase of all the chlorine that we need. Traditionally, we purchase it as we go through the season based on need, because that need can vary from year to year, and our storage capacity is limited. Because of this potential shortage of chlorine and the price increases, we are going to find additional locations and do whatever we need to do to fit it into our maintenance garage until we have such a need at the pools and we can move it out. So this is based on the the amount of chlorine that we purchased for 2019. And so we feel comfortable this is a good way to approach it. And this stuff is, has a good shelf life and will be continued to use. It won't go bad on us. And it does not exceed what we had planned and budgeted for the season. We're just purchasing up front. Because of the fact that this is a purchase agreement over $25,000, it requires authorization of the board. I'd be happy to answer any questions about this as well.
I think I heard about that shortage the day that I read the packet.
Yeah, I have to give credit to Manager Jennifer Myers over at the Activity Center. She first made myself and Manager Williams, aware of this, and we started to look into it and heard more about it. So it was a good point where everyone's working as a team and communicating to identify the best interests of the Park District. So.
How do you usually store all these?
They're stored in. Hello.
Good night.
Yeah, sorry. They get stored in our storage facility, our chlorine storage rooms at our pools.
But I think the question is, where are you going to store them now?
Yeah.
Oh, they'll be over in a secure location at our maintenance garage now.
Can I ask all the commissioners to make sure that their mics are turned off? Only turn them on when you're speaking. Thank you. Any more questions or?
Do you want to call the question, Melissa?
I just wanted to real quickly just thank Terry and his staff for having the foresight to look more into this, because who knew that chlorine tablets were going to become the toilet paper of 2021. So I'm glad that they're up on this.
Well, thank you, but truly I have to give the credit back to Manager Myers and Williams in the rec department, but thank you.
I'd like to point out, Terry, too, that I appreciate the fact that it looks like it's saving the district $19,000 to do it this way as well. So thank you for that.
I guess it does look that way. Perhaps I'll explain though that budget's for pool chemicals, and so there's other chemicals that we'll buy. So we're actually on track. So when I figure out what the price increases end up being by the end of the year, I'll circle back and let everyone know what we saved at the end of the year. So
no problem. We're gonna have lots. We're gonna have lots of revenue with the opening up, hopefully. So we'll make up for it.
Exactly. Thank you.
Do you want to call the question, Melissa?
Sure. Do you want?
I was like, I already read it at the beginning. Do you want
Are
me
you
to?
ready for a motion? I mean,
Is
ready
there a
for a
second?
roll call? Roll call.
Roll call.
Commissioner Coyne,
Aye.
Commissioner Hulting,
Yes.
Commissioner LeDuc,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Bendy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Grau.
Yes. Okay, we'll move to policy, and I believe that would be Commissioner LeDuc. I can't hear you if you're talking.
Sorry, I keep forgetting to turn the mic on. Yes, and I will turn that over to Sandra, to Superintendent DeAngelis.
Thank you, Commissioner LeDuc. So I'm scrolling through the packet too. We have, here we go. So it's on page 134 of the packet, 135 of the PDF is where it starts. Just a little background reminder, and for the new commissioners, we've introduced at our last board meeting some revisions to the expense section of our new financial policies. A number of years ago, we had determined to, while we were updating our administrative policy manual, to reorganize all of the policies related to finance in one section, and I've divvied up the sections, and the board approved the first three. So this expense section contains a lot of revisions, putting in policies that were previously standalone that are related to expenses. In addition to the expense section, I've included the fund balance section. So then we will have completed the revenues, the expenses, and the fund balance section. And then we have a couple more that we will be working on later in the year to complete our entire financial policies. So we did have some comments. So the first draft version, the first pages of this marks up everything that we are proposing to change from our existing policies. And the comments on the side kind of explain what was changed and why. And then the next version, which begins on page 144, is showing how I incorporated the comments from the last board meeting. And then the last section is a clean copy so that you can actually read what this policy says without being distracted by all of the markup. So does anyone have any questions, or would you like me to walk through in more detail some of the changes?
I mean, I wouldn't mind. I looked through it the first time at the last meeting, and I just wouldn't mind a quick recap of any substantive changes. Where these seems to be they're mostly pretty small tweaks, but I didn't know if I missed anything.
So for the changes from the last meeting, would you like me to highlight, or all of the policy?
No, just the changes from the last meeting.
Okay, thank you. So I believe Commissioner Coyne had raised the question in the capital asset, capital expense section to make it more clear how we handle those projects. And so I tried to do that. Make it more clear what new capital projects are versus those in the capital asset replacement plan, and what is subject to the bid requirement, and when the board determines they will review the projects. So we had a correction on page 145 that didn't get picked up correctly. We found some places where we needed to capitalize things.
Yeah, you don't have to go through the little. Yeah. I just was thinking of like the big ones.
Incorporated some comments from Commissioner Holting regarding
Yeah,
the environmental. So those were the major things.
Well, I don't want to bury or hide from it, but we also reiterated the legal policy that I'm supposed to be reviewed when we do
Oh,
the
yes.
executive director. And then we also put in there that the board is to be reminded every 3 years or so about considering legal services.
that's right. I remember that discussion too. Thank you.
That's right. And as well, the one I would say probably the most substantive, another substantive change in that section, based on Commissioner Harrington's comment, I did check the Government Finance Officers Association's best practice on the selection of financial service providers. So I've added language there that the board would review its selection every 5 years, and that when procuring these services, we'll use a competitive process. So that will mean we'll need some review, I think, of probably our financial and investment advisory services soon.
Those look like the biggies to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other commissioner comments or questions? All right, hearing none, I'll read the motion. I move to approve the amended expense and fund balance sections of the financial policy 3.142 as presented.
Second.
Any questions?
Any questions?
No. Commissioner Holting?
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc?
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Bendy?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne?
Aye.
Commissioner Grau?
Yes. I assume we're done with policy then? We'll
Yes,
move
we
on
are.
to we'll move on to new business, and it looks like we have a item under new business. Is that for you, Executive Director Mountcastle?
Yes, it is, President Grau. I actually have two items. The first one, and I'll on the property one, I'll talk about that second, but I did want to bring the board up to speed if you have not been paying attention like we do of the changing guidelines. But Governor Pritzker came out today and said that we will be going into the bridge phase on Friday, and that he has hopes that, and with a bunch of other caveats, of course, that we'll be going into phase 5 as early as June 11th. So that was certainly welcoming news. The bridge phase does not change a lot for us. It goes up to like 60% participation. But the other side of that is that, you still have to socially distance. So our facilities are only so big, but staff will make those adjustments as necessary when that goes into effect. And then we just hope for, that announcement, if that, if the numbers and everything stay the same, hopefully we'll be going to the phase 5, which is everything open, and we will not be sitting here with masks, hopefully. But there could be some caveats because the CDC said that they may come out with things that to add to phase 5. So we'll see how that affects Illinois. So keep your fingers crossed. We are also, the brochure went out, summer brochure. It looks fantastic, and I applaud the staff, April Armour and marketing manager and her staff on Holler on that brochure. As you can imagine, it is still tricky, and we're still in phase 4. And I know that's hard for people to understand and accept, but we just ask for the patience of the public in terms of our programming being still in phase 4 as of this moment. And tomorrow we'll go into phase, as I said, the bridge phase, and we'll make adjustments. We have heard already some comments on the pool, not offering pool passes. And that is a decision that was made to be in the best interest of the public. And we can talk about that further at some point. Our theory was that we could only sell, if we sold too many passes, then people would buy a pass and then they wouldn't be able to most likely get in, because we can only let a certain, very limited number of people in at this point. If we change to a fully opened phase, we will be offering some sort of a pool pass. So that is something that you may get asked about immediately here. So I just wanted to update you on that. All good movement. So hopefully we will be open soon. So I also just wanted to point out, we received a notice of a public hearing. This is a city matter, but because I don't normally bring these to the board. We receive these here and again at different times, but this happened to be across from one of our busy parks, bigger parks, South Park. So that's the reason I'm just pointing this out. And we also did get a call from the neighbor that lives right next door. And of course, while we sympathize with the neighbors for new development, this is really not in our core mission to get involved with. So there is a public hearing on Tuesday. So I just wanted to make sure that I brought it to the attention of the board, and that I would not be recommending the Park District object to this development. But I, again, open that for any comments to the commissioners if you have any.
I'd like to say something about that. I am a neighbor, or close to it, proximity-wise. The need for parking is kind of important over there. I'm very surprised that the city has allowed the proposals to get a 4-story apartment building over there, that it's gone this far. They'll be talking about it on Tuesday. Now, the parking is really important for our park. You know, when there's a baseball game over there, it can get very busy, can get very narrow, basically 2 lanes, down to 2 lanes. Also, if you have a party or whatever, it's not clear where to park other than the street. So, you know, I've said this to a couple friends. You know, someone needs to buy that parking, whether it's a city, whether it's a school, because they could use it for school teachers parking, or in the park, or a joint venture. So keeping it a parking lot is kind of important for that area. And just to say that the 4-story apartment building right across from the school is, I feel, inappropriate. But I'd like, you know, that's something that maybe if the board is interested, they could consider pursuing. I would say I would consider to make it a joint venture, you know, not to put all our money into it, but the city should, I can't believe the city would allow it, only because that's where employees of the shopping center park. So, and if there's another building that goes in that South Park, you know, that takes up more parking. So anyway, but that's, you know, something I would hope that maybe the other units of government would consider thinking about purchasing it, because it is the school, the city, park, kind of need that parking spot. So that's kind of my comment for that. I don't know if anyone else has any, if you live by there, even if you don't, if you've seen, you know, how busy South Park can get, there's overflow parking onto the street, onto the, you know, onto the residential, and, you know, to give up that parking spot, or to give up that parking lot, just doesn't seem to make sense to me. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on the matter.
Commissioner Bendy, do you know if the property is for sale?
Well, I understand Gillick, the owner of South Park Shopping Center, owns it. So I understand it's contingent, you know, so that's why the developer is, you know, he hasn't bought it. It's contingent on the special permit, special use passes I think it's the zoning committee. I think that's what it is. So that's what I know, kind of what I know about it. So it you know, it's still up for air, up for grabs, but as far as, you know, nothing's set in stone. But you know, as a park, I hate to see it, you lose some extra parking. So.
So first of all, I think the park district can be sympathetic to the neighbors and to the situation parking, but the property isn't for sale. I mean, it's been sold on a contingent sale based on what's going to happen next week. So it might go back on the market if the city decides not to do it. But if the city approves that, then it's going to go, then that deal's done, as far as I know. The reason that the people are allowed to park in the parking lot that Gillick owns is because Gillick owns the shopping center.
Mm-hmm.
So once that ownership transfers to whoever it's going to transfer to, if it's a private party, then it's within their rights as property owner to say, no more parking, no more employee parking, or no more customer parking in that lot. I don't have any interest in acquiring a parking lot for the park district on our own. And while I don't think it's fair for me to speak for other government bodies, my general consensus of people that I know in those other government bodies have no interest in buying it either. But be that as it may, that may be something that somebody wants to pursue. I don't want to be part of it at all. I don't think that, like I said, I think we can be sympathetic to the people that live there, that this is going to be a big change for them. But in as much as it has minimal, in my opinion, impact on the park district, any argument or objection we would have to bring as a park district would have to be based on that it was having an impact on our mission, not on whether or not we don't like a 5-story building across from a school, or that it's going to put shade on the neighbors. I feel bad for them if that's what they're experiencing, but this is a city issue, not a park district issue.
Well, it's only park because there's our customers, our patrons do want to park somewhere, and that is a great place to park. So our small parking lot is not adequate for everything that we do over there, especially when we have a couple things going on, whether it's, you know, the baseball and a practice and a wading pool and stuff. So it is useful. I'm not talking about whether, you know, put aside whatever a developer wants to do there. It really is, you know, just in general, to the Park Ridge citizens in general, that's a valuable parking spot. And to lose it to apartment buildings, single family homes, whatever they want to put there, you know, that would be a tragedy in my estimation. And like I said, I put that out there for other government bodies because, you know, yeah, we don't use it all the time, but the school, you know, uses it. They have overflow, and the city in general can always use more parking. So that's why I put that out there, to keep it in mind, keep it, you know, that this is something that's a valuable property, just like buying the place across from Main Park, next to Main Park, you know, a valuable piece of property that might be a little bit of some revenue, but, you know, when you get empty land, and you need, this has a purpose for our mission and our customers. I think we're doing our customers a service by, you know, having better parking available. So.
I just want to make one comment on that. I understand there's nothing we can do at this point, Commissioner Coyne, but there is going to be increased parking pressures there with I think there's one parking space per unit projected in that building. And then the people who work at the shopping center, that the patron, you know, that owns that, they're going to be on the street. And so then there's less parking for our patrons when our parking is full. So it's not only you took away that, but there's more cars, and you're ousting the people who used to park at that lot. So unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it now, but I think it will affect our business.
Yeah. Yes.
The only other thing I'd say on it is that it's my understanding, or it's always been my understanding as a resident, that there's at least an informal agreement with Nelson Funeral Home to use their parking spaces for overflow for when there's ball games, because I always park there. The Gillick property, which is the property in question, we were always told not to park in, but that was 10 years ago, so things may have changed. So yes, I appreciate it. I do think that that's the argument that the neighbors should be taking when they is it how many parking spaces per unit, et cetera, and how to deal with that, and maybe ask the developer to come back with a better proposal. To me, that's up to the people that live there, because they're going to be parking on their streets. But this is just like when my neighbor parks in front of my house. I may not be super happy that they're parking there, but I can't change the rules. I mean, it's a public street, so we'll have to deal with that parking issue. I agree with you. I think there will be increased parking pressure, but I don't know that. I still don't think that we have anything to say as a public body to another public body about this. I think the residents there should speak, and then they can make their adjustments accordingly.
And I don't think anyone disagrees with that. I
Say it again,
don't
Cindy, I'm sorry.
think anyone disagrees with that.
Okay, if there's no other, anybody else have any comments on that?
I'll just say that the packet is on the city website for Tuesday. If people, knowledge is power, and you can look at the packet.
Can you say that again?
The packet is on the city website. I just noted I was for the Tuesday's planning and zoning meeting. If people want more information, the agenda is up with links to the stuff in the packet for the meeting.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Halting. Okay, I just wanted to let the board be aware of that. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Is there any other new business?
Before you adjourn, though, President Grau, I was in error. I forgot to remind Marianne we needed to put one more public comment on here, opportunity, because we're in a different meeting. So technically, we need another opportunity for public comment.
Okay. This is an opportunity for anyone in the audience to talk to us about non-agenda items. Is there anyone who wants to say something to the board on a non-agenda item?
If you would like to, please use the raise your hand function and I will unmute you.
Thank you.
Not seeing any.
Okay. Hearing none, I move to adjourn the meeting of the Board of Park Commissioners.
Second.
Can I have the roll call vote?
Commissioner Leduc,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnel,
Yes.
Commissioner Bendy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Coyne,
Aye.
Commissioner Halting,
Yes.
Commissioner Grau.
Yes. All right.
Wave off.